Hello, I'm Freydis. This is Findus. We are located in eastern Norway, and this is a space where I talk about knitting and other things, but today only knitting. First of all, I have to say a very big thank you for all of your kind comments and feedback on my previous video and for watching it. I especially appreciate it because posting it was terrifying. I want to share some of my knitting goals and intentions for the new year. Even though we are a month into the new year, I've spent most of January just finishing up some projects from December, and I haven't really gotten that far with anything new. But in any case, there's no time like the present to reflect a bit on what you're doing. The first goal I have in mind is that I would like to learn how to do textured knitting. And by that I mean maybe something like the Gro hat or Jedra headband by Fibertails. I think doing something small like a headband would be a good idea. It doesn't seem too overwhelming. I also would like to do make a forceberry jacket by Fabel Knitwear. It only has texture along the two front panels and the rest is stockinette, so it feels like something I should be able to do. And I already have a forceberry jacket. I thrifted it before I learned how to knit myself, and it's one of my favorite things, and I'd very much like to make my own. I also have my eye on the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. It's you can make it in a bunch of different yarn weights and in different sizes. There's also two options for the neckline and the sleeves. So there's a lot of different directions you can take this design in to create different looks. The pattern also includes a bit of lace, which is also something I would like to do more of. I'd like to learn more stitch patterns, such as the honeycomb stitch, like in the Nurtured Sweater by Andrea Mowry, or the herringbone stitch like in the Jasmine Scarf or Jasmine Shawl by Pearl Soho. I think that's the free pattern, by the way. I want to knit a pillowcase. I need new pillows for my couch, and I think a woolly pillow would be very nice in winter. And I think maybe a pillowcase could be a good opportunity to memorize a new stitch pattern without having to worry too much about the rest of the design. But I say that as someone who has never made a pillowcase before, and maybe it's a lot more complicated than I think. I never really know what to do with variegated yarn, especially the heavily variegated kind. But lately I've seen some pictures of what it could look like in colorwork, and I'm very intrigued. So I'm going to try to use some of my variegated yarn for the contrasting color in colorwork, and we'll see how it goes. And on the topic of colorwork, I just generally would like to improve my technique because I don't really have one. A more serious knitting goal is to take better care of myself. Knitting is very hard on me, and if I want to be able to keep doing this in the future, I need to get better at preventing injuries. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what that might look like for me, but a very universal and obvious place to start is to take more breaks, but also to include more movements with variety, movements that are more flowy, if that makes sense. Just anything really to break up the very monotonous, repetitive, kind of strained movements knitting sometimes involves, or computer work, or scrolling on your phone for that matter. So these are some of the things I want to keep in mind in the coming year, and I hope that by stating them out loud like this, I will be able to stay on track. Maybe. If you have any knitting goals or intentions you'd like to share, please feel free to tell me about them in the comment section. The first finished object I have to share is this. This is yet another Diagon Alley jumper from Fabel Knitwear. This is knit in Hillesvåg Varde in the color dark brown. It's a little bit fuzzy, the yarn has kind of a halo to it, and I think it's very lovely. This is a rustic yarn, you can find pieces of hay in it, but it's on the softer side of rustic yarns because this is pelsull. I don't know what you would call that in English. Fur wool sounds really weird. The wool is from a crossbreed, which is a cross between the Norwegian short-tailed landrace, also known as sparsau, and Gotland sheep. So it's very soft and very nice, but still probably a bit itchy for a lot of people. I finally made the sleeves properly long as well as the body, and I don't have any issues with how it fits me. I'm very happy with how it turned out, finally. And the color and the silhouette makes me feel like a stern Edwardian lady. The next finished object I have is this Valkyria Cardigan by Anna Sjøsvärd. It's knit in Pickles Cozy in the color Tare, which is an alpaca blow yarn, so it's very soft and very nice and easy to knit with. This is a cropped cardigan with slight balloon sleeves. It goes very well with dresses and skirts, and I'm overall very pleased with it. I love the design, but I chose the wrong size. The problem is that I often find myself between two sizes, like right in the middle between two sizes, and I never know if I should choose the larger or the smaller size. Whenever I choose the smaller size, I usually regret it later, so this time I thought I would go in the other direction, but turns out I might have been better off going for the smaller option. I did try it on as I was making it, but I wasn't able to fully understand what I was seeing until I was almost finished. And then I realized how baggy it was. There's a lot of extra room, especially in the back. So I considered maybe ripping the body back and adding more decreases, but I don't think that would have worked out very well. So now I'm wondering if I should reknit it, as much as it pains me to say so. But I do want to make this cardigan in other yarns as well, and the next time I will choose the smaller size, and then I can compare the two and then make my decision. I should also mention that I made an alteration to the sleeves. The sleeves are supposed to end maybe here, so they're not 3/4 length and they're not full length, they're sort of in the middle. Getting the sizing right is really hard. I know I'm not the only one who struggles to get things right, but I am getting better at interpreting what I'm seeing as I'm knitting, and I'm getting better at predicting how things will fit me, so I guess there's some progress in here somewhere. The final semi-finished garment I have to show you is the Stonewood sweater by Skein Knits. This is something I knit last year. It was in my 2022 recap video, but I had to fix it. And now I've sort of fixed it. The problem was that the yoke was very loose, very oversized, and the body was very tight due to waist shaping, and it just made me look like a mushroom. So I ripped the body back and I knit it straight instead. So now it's more balanced. But now I realize just how tight the sleeves are, and it looks kind of weird to have tight-fitting sleeves on a oversized sweater. So now I'm thinking I'm going to have to rip the sleeves back as well and knit them straight because they have decreases in them, and just to balance the whole thing out. I just haven't had it in me yet to do it. It should be easy enough, but hopefully I can get it done before summer gets here. I don't have that many works in progress to show you. I really only have one I'm actually working on, and then there's one for the frog pond. My current work in progress is the Rota Cardigan by Anna Sjøsvärd. It's very similar to this Valkyria Cardigan in construction, but it's knit on a gauge of 24 stitches per 10 centimeters, which is a lot of tiny stitches, at least to me. I know to a lot of you that's nothing. Unless it's for a sock, I don't go for any tighter gauges than maybe 22, because it's just testing my patience too much. I normally don't want to knit a whole garment in tiny stitches. I can live with a sock. So this is the recommended yarn, Rauma Finull. It's in the color... The color is 4125. It's called Okergul mørkmelert, which means ochre yellow darkly mottled. I love this color. I'm absolutely crazy about this color, which is kind of funny to think about because just a few years ago, or maybe just a few years ago, it's more like a decade ago. But anyway, this type of color, this type of mustardy yellow color, would have slightly repulsed me back in the day. And here we are. I can't get enough of it. I think maybe all that research on historical clothing finally got to me. But as you can see, I haven't gotten that far. It's a slow and steady progress. The failed project I have to show you is this Taiga sweater by Tanja Barley. The needles and stitch markers are falling out, but it's okay because I'm frogging this anyway. The yarn is Drops Alaska. It's perfectly fine. I have no complaints about the yarn itself. The problem is the color combination. It doesn't work. I don't think these colors complement the design at all. I think they kind of devour the design almost. It seems very obvious looking at it now that the contrasting color is too dark. But the thing is, I kind of like color work where the colors aren't all that different from each other, but this wasn't the right design for a combination like that. This needs a higher contrast. I don't think it looks any good, and I'm not gonna spend all that energy making a sweater that I'm probably just going to feel annoyed by. I've been trying to make the Taiga sweater for over a year, but I haven't found the right yarn or the right color combination. There's just always something that doesn't work out. And I've actually bought sweater quantities for the Taiga sweater maybe 4 times. And this is actually why I made the Diagon Alley jumper in Hillesvåg Barde. This was supposed to be the contrasting color, but after a few rows I realized I didn't like doing color work with Barde. It's a very common yarn to use for color work, so the problem is just me. I just didn't like how it felt in my hands, or how it behaved on the needles when doing color work. My next attempt at the Taiga sweater will be with Rauma Tretroll strikkegarn, but that will have to wait. I have way too many sweater quantities waiting for me now, so I'm gonna use what I already have for other things and then return to the Taiga some other time. But I kinda also like how the colors look together, even though they look kinda weird. So I'm thinking about maybe making a striped sweater with maybe actually with the contrasting color as the main color and the green as the stripes in different thicknesses. I think I'm gonna make a striped sweater, but we'll see. I'm just gonna put it aside for now and deal with it later. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.